So for our next speaker, she is the Chief Executive Officer, Africa Corporate Governance Network, ACGN. Reverend Appiah is an MBA graduate in Corporate Governance from the University of Cape Coast and the first woman to lead the ACGN. A former president of the Institute of Directors, Ghana, she has been pivotal in advancing ESG-driven governance reforms across Africa enterprises. Her work strengthens transparency, board diversity, and ethical leadership, key pillars of sustainability in both the public and private sectors. She'll be speaking to us on Cradle to Cradle Continent, navigating the Polycrisis governance, depth, and illicit financial flows, a critical journey through Africa's green evolution. Please help me welcome our co-chair, Reverend Mrs. Angela Carmen Appiah.
Thank you very much. A little correction. I've got nothing to do with the University of Cape Coast. It's actually the University of Cardiff, Wales. Yes, yes. So thank you very much. Is it Alexander? Do I have my... We are going to go to Wakanda. So yes, I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the African Corporate Governance Network, which is a conglomerate of 22 IODs, Institutes of Directors, or governance institutes on our continent, representing 20,500 board members or C-suite executives on our continent. And the mandate is to champion not just ethical leadership, but enhanced corporate governance practices on our continent so that we will always have Wakanda. How many of you are familiar with Wakanda? The young ones should be very familiar with Wakanda. So Wakanda is supposed to be the futuristic Africa where technology drives everything and where we are proud to identify with the Black Panther. It started in 1966, for those of you who may not know, and in 2018, that story continues. So, we are going to discuss a polycrisis. And the polycrisis, I like to describe it as a multi-headed leviathan or a dragon. And this multi-headed leviathan has 3 heads. And we all know what dragons do to the human species. And so this 3-headed leviathan has heads that are named. So apart from debt, it has a head that is a governance head, and it has a head that is illicit financial flows. So by way of taking you along this journey of how we want to navigate this poly-headed dragon so that we can not just survive, but be able to create and go from cradle to cradle, we want to look at this outline. Africa as a continent at crossroads, deconstructing the polycrisis, that is the heads of this dragon, the vicious cycle that we find ourselves in, and we want to navigate from this vicious cycle to a virtuous cycle. Then we find solutions to how we can navigate or dribble this leviathan, possibly kill it. And then we have hope. There is hope. To every dark cloud, there is a silver lining. And then our collective call to action. It's not a journey for one, it's a journey for all. Then we have our conclusion. So by way of a continent at crossroads, Africa is known to have as many opportunities as there are challenges. What are some of the opportunities? Africa holds 60% of the world's resources. So you see how the West is scrambling for Africa, doing everything to run interference and to ensure that we don't become one. Africa has vast mineral resources, green transition, and the world's youngest population. That is why the President of the Republic of Ghana at the UN Congress said that the future is what? African. All right. Yet, Africa has its challenges. And this is what we've come to discuss. And then we have governance issues, capacity gaps, because we increasingly put the square pegs in round holes. We call it job for the boys, party faithfuls, and it's a common thing in Africa. Then we have debt distress. We hear about IMF. We said we won't go back, we'll go back. And we'll always go back because we are not producing. So we have debt crisis, distress, soaring debt servicing, and we are still borrowing. Then we have the illicit financial flows to an estimated $88.6 billion. And it leaks. It's like menstruation. It's leaking, free period. If we stop this, we shouldn't go begging anybody again. And for all of the conversations we've had from yesterday till now, we cannot talk about a green transition without cutting that dragon's head or possibly maiming it. And that is the Polycrisis. And there are two sides of the same coin. As we want to kill it, we also want to reduce those things that cause the dragon or this leviathan to be attracted to us. So the first head, that is the governance gap. The weak institutions, and I'm happy that GIMPA is going to set another pace. We have very weak institutions. When President Obama said it, we weren't happy. But it's the truth. We don't lack resources. We just have weak institutions with equally weak leaders who like to murmur without lancing boils. So we hear the audited financial reports. Every day we hear it. It's a broken record. Every year we'll hear it, and nothing will be done. We have short-term political cycles common to African countries. Every 4 years something will happen. And now we are hearing that even in the first year of office, they are thinking of the next. So that is also working against us. And then we don't have transparent governance systems. And when we don't have transparent governance systems, ESG becomes a box-checking activity. That is where the greenwashing is coming from, and it doesn't become a core principle. What is the second head? Debt. And this is a trap. Because we are a begging continent with a bowl in hand, we go begging, 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 and we are not ashamed to go beg and come and live very, very grandiose lifestyles, riding Porsche cars, and yet we beg. And if we don't escape this trap, we are not going anywhere. So African nations spend more on debt servicing, as we've heard from the previous administrations till now. We are still borrowing, we are still paying. And these debts we are paying could have been invested elsewhere. But because we are paying, we are not able to even save enough to invest. This is crippling our public investment. It is crippling renewable energy. We are not able to have resilient infrastructure because everything is wishy-washy, wishy-washy. Quick, 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 quick. We are surviving. We can't even dream. We can't think. It's survival. And we are financing past liabilities instead of looking into the future. Then the third head is illicit financial flows. It's become a common topic now on the continent because it's very common to Africa. Illicit financial flows. We hear of all these big individuals, ministers of state, having certain accounts in certain countries, and then money's finding their way elsewhere. Big monies. Some find their way into car ties, that are exported. Some find their ways on planes, all kinds of ridiculous stories. But it's happening in Africa. And it says that this 88.6 billion is lost annually. Can you imagine what we would have done for Green Hill? We would have not just been heavenly, we would have gone to heaven. And this capital stolen is stolen from you and I, from our schools, from hospitals, from solar grids. And illicit financial flows are the antithesis of sustainable investment. If we don't stop it, nothing will.
Hello.
If it's working. Yeah, it's working. Thank you. So that's the third head of the dragon. So now we have seen the vicious cycle we are in. So how the polycrisis is thwarting our green transition. So we have dreams, we have hopes, we have aspirations, but they will just remain so. It cannot escalate, it cannot be translated because we don't have the wherewithal to translate it. And poor governance, which is the G in the ESG, is what leads to misallocation of resources. How come every year we hear the Auditor General's report and it's the same? Every year. And we are not ashamed. We sit and listen. It also leads to corruption. It leads to increased debt. It leads to illicit financial flows. It leads to less money for green investment. And it feeds back to stunted growth. It's like kwashiorkor. You don't have money. You go, even if you have corn, there is no protein bit to the carbohydrates. So you are eating something, but you are not benefiting from it. That is what is happening. And the result is a linear cradle to grave model. You come live, you eat anything, you die, you go. But we want to translate from there so that we can extract resources, often with high environmental costs, export them as raw materials, which is what the Chinese is here busily doing. And they have built so many hotels, they are in there in droves because they are working to an ancient mindset. I'm not sure what a National Planning Development Commission is doing, but the Chinese are an old nation with plans, with strategic vision, and we are just playing gutter to gutter. And our ports are open to them. And so we take out the raw minerals, import finished goods. We are helping the economy, building their societies. We are not doing anything African or Ghanaian because, in fact, I'm number one. I said I won't do any Ghanaian thing anymore because it didn't have quality. Anytime I bought furniture, it wasn't properly treated. The wood wasn't properly treated. It brought insects to my home. You buy a shoe, the next 3 months, the shoe is spoiled. And so we need to really step up our game and then get out of our comfort zone a bit and then go on this journey. Because if we don't do this, we are helping others build their economies whilst ours is dwindling. And we are losing capital through the illicit financial flows. So how do we move from this vicious cycle to a virtuous cycle? We know about the virtuous woman. We saw a demonstration not long ago. So our blueprint, that is integrating the ESG at the core of governance and finance, shouldn't be a talk shop. It should be action with metrics, performance indicators, KPIs we should measure and we should report on them, not just ticking boxes. We should thrive green and circular economy. It should be thriving. It should be seen, felt. You should breathe it. You should see it like the heavenly hill we are in now. Robust ESG aligned governance that will enable the following. So the governance, which starts with the board room. When the board sits, their core business shouldn't just be looking at their allowances. They should help management to put in policies that look at robust ESG-aligned governance in transparent and accountable systems. How transparent are the systems? How accountable? It should attract green foreign direct investments. And ladies and gentlemen, if your kitchen is not good and anybody wants to come and give you money to cook, once they enter your kitchen, they'll say, they may not even want to eat your food. And where is this kitchen? It's our systems. Our processes, our systems. Those are the things that the directors out there, they want, investors out there, they want to see. What is your annual reporting like? What are you doing that will attract them? Are you trustworthy? And so they will be looking at these things to bring in that attraction of foreign direct investment. And don't forget, even in the US, they are running from Trump. They want somewhere to bring their money, not just their money, their persons. Cameroon has done a beautiful job of allowing those who think they are Africans to come in. Ghana, we have a little more to go. What do we want to do? They want to come. They think they are African, but they don't know their roots yet. But are we even attracting them? So let's see what we can do. Climate finance. Some want to finance, but are you trustworthy? Can they give you their monies? Fund investment in renewables and secular models. And I'm happy KNUST is doing this. And then let's feed back to thriving green and secular economy. Mindful that if we waste food, in economic terms, every financial flow must be productive. So capital must be secular within the economy. Capital must be secular. It should flow. That is what brings life and causes the circulatory system to work. Okay, so now I'm giving you 3 solutions that we are working with on the continent. And the first solution is the governance for a green future. Solution 1. So the mandate integrated ESG reporting. It is always said, and the King reports have said this, that the board members are the conscience of the organizations. An organization is inanimate, but there are people who sit within the organization to provide strategic direction, and those are the board members. So for example, if you put garbage in, garbage out, it's the same principle. If you put an incompetent board member there, nothing will happen. So if we are able to mandate ESG by way of metrics that we are measuring, the management should show us what they have done. We should measure it, score it, before we allow any bonuses coming our way. We will move beyond voluntary frameworks. Because as it is now, Ghana has a National Corporate Governance Code, which is good, championed by the Institute of Directors Ghana, but it is not mandatory. We are pushing it through Parliament, through the presidency, to get it mandatory. But we know our habits. We like to run interference with mandatory things because it doesn't sit well with us. We should make comprehensive ESG disclosure a requirement. If you don't demand it, it won't happen. And we should strengthen anti-corruption agencies. Usually, the laws are there, but implementation is very weak because everybody's hand is not clean. So you don't want to go and ruffle any boats. You rub my back, I rub my back. And public sector is very good at this. They will tell you the job is not for your father. And then. They will say plenty things. And that's why we are in this together. Empower the fund independent bodies. So where you think that you can't do it, you get others to do it. That's why you have external committees. KPIM, whoever, empower them and fund them to track public spending and bring the report out so that we can name and shame. Then people may stop. Multi-stakeholder governance modules. So we said in the future we are going to, as AU, for the Africa that we want, we are holding hands. It's not a journey for one. So let's have multi-stakeholder governance models. The Bank of Ghana has its governance model. SEC has governance model. IOD has done the National Corporate Governance Code. But you find other sectoral codes in there, including references to the King Report and references to the African Union's framework for principles of corporate governance. They are all in there. Because the more we have, all right. So, good governance is the bedrock without which green finance will not stick. If there's no good governance, it doesn't matter how much money anybody brings. It won't work. It doesn't matter how much gold we shore off our land. We won't get the money. We won't even see the tail lights. Nothing will happen. So for solution 2, that debt climate swaps. So champion the conversion of sovereign debt. This will need negotiators, those who can talk. You took so much from us. Let's talk. So let's champion the conversion of sovereign debt into domestic investments in renewable energy and climate adaptation projects. And GIMPA, I'll be coming to you for one such. We are seriously bidding for a World Bank project. They are looking at this. They want an African think tank platform. So we have formed a consortium, and they want to fund it. So we'll be looking for partners on the continent. We got Makerere University. We must come to Ghana. All right. So we free up fiscal space and accelerate the transition. Green and sustainability-linked bonds. So I'll be looking more to you as well, GIMPA and then KNUST. The green and sustainability bonds, it shouldn't just be in the industry where we are talking them. It should also be in academia where you are researching into it and telling us the how. Because usually the disconnect is the how, to bridge the gap. And then reform the global financial architecture. Usually you have this multilateral development banks that are like IMF, who are also looking for some opportunities to show that they are conducting themselves ethically. And we want to provide more concessional finance and leverage private capital to scale for African nations. As was said, the future is African. They know the future is African. Some time ago, some thought that the COVID will wipe us off and then they will swap. But God in his wisdom made us to remain. So we will survive and we'll kill this Leviathan. Then the final pathway, the solution for illicit financial flow, just imagine a wave. We need to stem it. If we don't block it, nothing will happen. We will leak and we'll menstruate and we'll bleed to death. Bleeding, that's what it is. You can bleed to death. So how do we tackle it? And we're saying that beneficial ownership transparency. Usually we have contracts, we have MOUs, we have agreements. You don't even know the terms. Recently we had some 14 individuals have been brought into the country. We don't know the terms. It's not the first. But we want to know. Does it help us? What are we to be mindful of? What are we to be careful about? What are we not to do? How do we go along together? Because we are in it anyway. And then ratify and implement the African Continental Free Trade protocols on investment and competition. And I'm happy that, Prof. de Graft, you brought after here. We should ratify, not just ratify, implement. The last time we were doing a peer review for Ghana, the story started with a high note. The Ghanaians, they were the first to accede to peer review. And we're like, yo, Ghana. Then suddenly it continued. Unfortunately, Ghana is coming back. We are becoming the last. So we have to catch up and demonstrate that we walk the talk. And then plugging the leaks of IFFs is the single most effective form of domestic resource mobilization for our green future. So if we plug the bleeding, we would solve the problem. Now our call to action. And the call to action is for all of us. You have your part in it. I have my part in it. Everybody has their part in it. And so, what is the African government's part? Leading with courage. African leaders sometimes lack the courage, for which reason some young leaders have decided to break away and form that Sahel states. We are not happy about it. In some other sense too, we are happy about it. International community and the domestic financial, what is it? We should partner them in heart, in truth, sincerity, not do them 419 because they will take their funds elsewhere. Provide patient catalytic capital. Let's not be too ambitious. We heard yesterday from Professor Douglas Boateng that this thing we want to see may not happen in 4 years. It may not even happen in 6 years. It takes time, but we can start now. So let's be patient. Support debt relief initiatives, and then help us build capacity, not just infrastructure. Let's not be quick to appoint people to places. Let's train. Let's build the capacity. And when occasion has found you and you have been named to occupy a seat, go find the knowledge to govern. Private sector, see ESG not as a cost, but as a license to operate and innovate in the 21st century. And for civil society, for all of us, let's be the watchdogs. Let's not say that I won't vote, I won't do this, I don't care. We are in it. If you don't vote, somebody will vote, you get somebody you don't want. Then hold us all accountable. We need to do this together. And finally, the cradle that we are looking for, it's still waiting for us. It is our evolution. It has been done somewhere. The polycrisis is real. We should move from a continent of extraction to a continent of secularity, renovation, reinventing, from cradle of crisis to a cradle of infinite, sustainable value. God in his wisdom gave us everything. He knows why. Let's trust him. Thank you very much.